Today we will be reviewing the highly anticipated Suicide Squad movie. Now assuming you have seen the trailers, I am not going to give a synopsis on the plot. Instead, we are going to jump right into the review and start off with the story. Now the story in this movie, upon further reflection, was disappointing to me. The movie keeps reminding you that these are bad guys, yet they go on a mission that any superhero could have done. The whole concept of the Suicide Squad is to carry out missions of evil acts for the government that superheroes would refuse to do, such as breaking into Arkham Asylum and assassinating someone. Yeah, try convincing Superman or Batman to do that. Instead, the movie tries to go bigger and say, what if we came up against a threat that is just as strong as Superman? If that were to happen, we need a team of really bad people that would do whatever it takes to stop him, and then they choose these guys to take on foes like Superman. If Superman was evil and didn't care about the brutality of his actions, then he could kill these guys off in a heartbeat. Heck, even Batman could fight them all at once if he had to. So the studio attempting to make the story bigger and smarter only backfired and instead resulted in a story that doesn't make sense. Also, the backstories of these characters were presented in flashbacks and they were rushed over so quickly. They were good, but I would have liked more time dedicated towards them. That is especially the case for Harley's origin. For those of you that have not seen the animated series, which is where she originated, there is an episode that shows her backstory and how she tries to write a book for fame by studying one of the asylum inmates. She takes an interest to Joker, and instead of getting into his psychotic mind, he gets into hers. That's what drove her to become insane, and it was good. It was a really good story. That's why it kind of breaks my heart that we didn't get a proper telling of it in this film, because there are people like me who know her story, but those that don't are missing out on one of the great story arcs. Now let's move on to what could make or break this film: the characters. Now let me just say, I loved this cast. They were absolutely perfect. They really captured the characteristics of these villains so well, and on top of that, you can tell they are having a ton of fun. There's even a sign of good directing on David Ayer's part. He actually managed to make Jai Courtney deliver a great performance for once. I never thought that was possible. Even Will Smith as Deadshot, excluding the rest of the team, he is the one that has actual morals and is the most down to earth. Even his humor was handled incredibly well, as is the case for the humor in the rest of the film. I found it to be really strong. I mean, even if you didn't like it, you gotta admit, the humor was a million times better than...
We're still friends, right?
Depends on how hard you hit me.
What's this, my mantra?
It's the Wi-Fi password.
Oh my god, you've gotta be kidding me.
We're not savages.
Anyway, for the first time, I didn't see Will Smith acting in a movie, I saw his character, and that is the biggest compliment I can give him. Now let's talk about Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. When I saw her in the trailers, I thought she definitely embodied the character, but whenever she would talk, it sounded nothing like Harley. I am glad to say though that in the movie, she was excellent. Her characteristics were darker and more sexualized than the animated show, which was to be expected, but they didn't go too far with it, and I really do respect that. She even nailed the sound of her voice. One of the things this movie brought to her character, which honestly I thought they wouldn't do, was give her some humanity. There was a scene in the movie where she was looking all sad, but once the rest of the team showed up, she put on her usual smile to conceal her pain. Really, this movie did a fantastic job of representing her. If I had to find something to complain about, is that Margot Robbie does dip out of the accent sometimes, but overall she did a wonderful job. Now one of the villains that really surprised me was El Diablo. I thought he was just going to be a throwaway villain who was shoehorned into the movie, but no, he actually has a very touching backstory that really makes you feel for him. Next up is Amanda Waller. Now when Viola Davis was cast, I said to myself, that is perfect casting. And she really did not disappoint. She was very intimidating throughout the entire movie and she didn't give the villains the satisfaction of seeing her flinch. I honestly believe this is the best version of Amanda Waller that we ever got, in both live action and animation. My only complaint is that there is one scene where she shoots a handful of people and that was really out of character for her and made no sense at all. But other than that, she did an impeccable job. Katana on the other hand felt like an afterthought and unfortunately wasn't fully utilized. Also, this weird thing didn't happen in the finished movie either, but we'll get more into the deleted scenes a little later. Alright, Enchantress. Now I love the way they designed this character. She is almost entirely concealed in black smoke and they made her body language a lot like a zombie crossed with Gollum. It's very otherworldly and I thought it translated perfectly to a comic book movie. There are some problems I have with her though. First off, later on in the movie, her design changes to a more standard Egyptian ruler or something along those lines, and she looked terrible. Also, her human counterpart, better known as June Moon, sucked. She had no character traits at all, and I didn't care about her in the slightest. The only thing I thought she did well was act scared of her transformations, but other than that, she brought absolutely nothing to the table. And Killer Croc. Apart from saying a few funny jokes, being physically intimidating and in my opinion looking pretty darn cool, He did nothing. They didn't give him a backstory, they didn't give him any standout scenes, and he was just there so the team had the strong muscle man to help them fight. I also thought he was miscast. They should have hired a much bigger actor such as the Mountain or someone like that. That being said, I really wanted to see a big Killer Croc, much like in the Arkham games. That to me was the best version of the character. Okay, now we come to the Joker. Or not, because I want to talk about another character first. Batman. Yes, Batman does make a couple cameos in this film, and I have gotta say, the scene he has with Deadshot really convinced me. Ben Affleck is the best live-action version of Batman we have ever had. He was only on screen with Deadshot for about a minute and had like 2 lines of dialogue, but he seamlessly put everything into this performance, and I didn't see an actor in a suit, I saw Batman. Ben Affleck did a fantastic job in such a short amount of time, and I really wish we got to see more of him like in the animated movie, or at least see him have a brief scene with Joker. And this swiftly leads us to Joker. Now, Jared Leto did a great job portraying the Clown Prince of Crime. He was very intimidating, dark, and his presence instantly changed the tone of the movie. But, is he better than the previous Jokers? I would say he is better than Jack Nicholson, but he doesn't hold a candle to Heath Ledger. His laugh is what I thought sucked. He has 2 types of laughs in the movie. One of them was really good, particularly from this scene. Then there was this laugh, and it was terrible. As a matter of fact, didn't Heath Ledger's Joker sound exactly the same when he was faking his laugh? Also, Joker seemed way too in love with Harley. Now initially I did look at this as a bad thing, but upon further reflection, I actually think it's interesting to see the affection between them go both ways. That being said, I still prefer it when Joker uses her as a means to an end.
Whoops! Time to eject! Hey, where's mine? Sorry, kiddo! I could only afford one! You cheap, penny pigeon, pasty-faced creep! I'll get you for this, you lousy tightwad!
Now I'm pretty certain you all feel the same way, but Joker's inclusion in this film, or lack thereof, really pissed me off. Why the hell were all his scenes cut? Now I'm not just talking the scenes of him we saw in the trailer, I'm also talking about the scenes we got with him in the actual movie. Whatever little bit of screen time he did end up getting was also reduced, like this scene. This part was in the movie, and they cut it before this part followed.
I can't wait to show you my toys.
We saw this part in the trailer, so we know it's supposed to come up, but the movie just abruptly cuts away, and it is so distracting. I mean, this film felt like it was afraid to keep the camera on him for more than a few seconds in fear of not getting a PG-13. And all he did was point a gun and threaten people. Heath Ledger's Joker in The Dark Knight stabbed a guy in the eye with a pencil, threatened and killed another guy with a knife, and had so many other terrifying parts as well. So if that can get a PG-13, why the hell are they so afraid of showing a scene where Joker just shoots a guy? All his scenes were botched, and it really pissed me off. Also, all these parts that were clearly advertised in the trailers were completely taken out. I was really excited to see how these scenes would play out, especially this one, but in the final release, they are nowhere to be found. Look, I know movies get cut, it happens, but to heavily market these scenes with a popular and beloved character such as Joker, and to then remove all of them is just disgusting, and it definitely falls under false advertising. The director, David Ayer, said that they cut Joker's parts because they didn't fit and it would disrupt the flow of the movie. Well, you know what? The fact that you so obviously cut what little scenes he did have already disrupts the flow of the movie. Joker's brief appearance wouldn't have bothered me much if he was meant to have a cameo, but the trailers, cast, crew, and especially director hyped him up as having so many awesome scenes which in the end we can't see. Feedback from early viewers were unbelievably positive, so why they decided to go back in, make an alternate cut of the movie with less Joker, and have it edited by a team of monkeys who never edited a film in their entire life is beyond me. The editing in the first half of the movie was unbelievably bad. It's obvious Warner Brothers want this movie to succeed, but then they do stuff like this that gives off the impression that they just don't care. Even Jared Leto has been quite vocal about his disappointment in the final cut. It's obvious he is upset about it, and I can't blame him.
Were there any that didn't get cut from the movie?
They got cut from the movie.
No, I'm asking you, were there any that didn't get cut from the movie?
Okay.
Well, to the people who want more Joker, I say, me too.
Yeah. Okay.
I did a lot of work in the film, and a lot was cut. So you have to ask the movie studio why. Okay, I don't know.
I got the feeling that you filmed a lot more
We
because I
found
saw stuff in the trailer.
so much of our backstory. Yeah, there's
And
a
it
lot
just
of...
didn't make it in.
Yeah, and the backstory stuff, though, it's like magic. And some of the stuff we shot was like
It was beautiful.
insane.
Yeah.
Yes, I'd like to see a little more Joker and Suicide Squad too. We shot so much footage. There are so many scenes that are not in the film.
I really feel sorry for the guy. His performance was very good from what little we saw, but it was the bare minimum we would expect from a Joker performance. The thing is, I don't know who to blame. Is it David Ayer's fault? Well, it can't be, because after Batman vs Superman, the studio demanded the movie had a lighter tone, so it must be the studio's fault, right? Well, it can't be, because recently Ayer said that the final movie was his vision, so it must be his fault. But actually, it turns out that his original vision was the darker version we got in the very first trailer. So was the final version really the studio's cut, and are they getting Ayer to lie and say it was his cut? I honestly don't know. Look, overall I enjoyed this movie a lot, but the inexcusable cuts the movie made to Joker really has been dragging the score of this movie down for me. When I came out of the cinema, I gave the movie an 8, then upon further reflection regarding the story and Joker, I gave it a 7. But whilst making this review, I've been getting so angry about it, and the fact that we had to wait and anticipate Leto's Joker for more than 2 years, only to then find out that we just get 7 minutes with him is a big slap in the face. So even though I think this movie earns a 7, Warner Brothers have really earned themselves some tough love, and I'm going to drop it down to a 6 out of 10. I really hate Warner Brothers' new trend of charging us full price to see a cut DC movie in cinemas, then getting us to wait to see the true version on Blu-ray. I said it once, and I will say it again. If you're going to make cuts to a movie, then you better make cuts to my ticket price. Quite honestly, the film is not at all deserving of all the hate it's been getting. That being said, all the hate should be directed towards the lack of Joker. Now, as all of you know, I am a big fan of DC, but you ridiculous fanboys out there should quit making retarded petitions to shut down Rotten Tomatoes and instead vote for Warner Brothers to get their shit together and make a good comic book movie for once. Without Christopher Nolan, they are lost. They have no idea what to do. Even though I enjoyed the film, I have lost all hope in Warner Brothers, as they are an incompetent bunch of studio executives that just see the money at the end of the tunnel, and don't give a damn about the fan base, the characters, or indeed their hard-working actors. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Comment below and let me know what you think of Suicide Squad and the cuts they made to Joker. Also, I have recently made a Patreon page, so please do check it out and you will see my reason as to why I decided to make one. Thanks so much for your great comments and continuous support, guys, and I will catch all of you in the next video. Take care.